You're wrong if you think leadership is about having a fancy title or being the loudest person in the room. I was a nobody from nowhere, and I learned how to apply these leadership principles and leadership in general to my business models and the things I was learning in formal education. And that's what set me apart. Hey, welcome back to the channel. I'm really excited to talk to you guys today about a subject that I'm very passionate about, leadership. So, what is leadership? Really? In the Army, I was taught that leadership was the ability to provide purpose, motivation, and direction. It was the art of inspiring others to achieve a goal or an outcome. Leadership is execution with purpose. It's getting people, including yourself, to come together and work towards a common good or an outcome that you desire. And while we're talking about what leadership is, I personally believe that one of the best practices in determining what your leadership is leadership through service, in the sense that we're going to influence people through our act of service, not our acts of control. Hey, I forgot to say at the start of this video, I will donate to charity $1 to Charity Water for every subscriber that I get on YouTube in 2025. In the military, it's not uncommon to be working against tight deadlines, chaos, and a lack of order. And it's really easy to sometimes fall back and say, you know what, just get it done. It's the wrong answer. For me, the better way to approach something like that is to sit down with your team, find where you want to be, and then backwards plan how you're going to get there. Give everyone in the process ownership, make them feel validated, have them share their ideas. Now, fast forward to my entrepreneurial journey. When I started Oro Tactical in 2017, it was just me, and I didn't have a big team. I didn't have a lot going on. I was juggling ROTC, my business degree, work, and I had to stay late and answer emails and customer messages. I had to constantly be tweaking my processes. I needed to contact manufacturers, right? I had to lead myself to those outcomes. And then when I started to develop a little bit of a team, we had to make sure that everyone there knew that I had their back, right? We were all working together because ultimately that's how we could take the business and grow from zero to where we were able to have, full teams and get a bigger warehouse and all those things. Leadership in this sense wasn't just the charisma, it was showing up, doing the work, and serving the customers with my team, my growing team. You see, leadership isn't just barking orders or flexing your authority. So why should you care about leadership? Honestly, entrepreneurship is like building a house of cards, right? And I've seen this a million times. You have entrepreneurs and leaders. They have killer ideas, tons of hustle. But when it comes to leading people, they lack vision and drive. There's no plan, there's no priorities, just chaos. And in the military, we have a saying that 1 hour of planning beats 10 hours of panic. That's not just for combat operations, that's for your business too. If you can't lead, then you can't scale, period. Think about it. You're not just building a company, right? To build an effective company, you need to build your team, okay? And in building your team, you're building your culture. And that's going to influence, it's like lubricating your machine, right? How it runs without you micromanaging every detail matters. Now, I went from selling like military themed gear and equipment to owning multiple e-commerce brands, and then building into like real estate development and real estate investing, right? Now, none of that could happen if I didn't know how to develop a team through leadership to take ownership of their processes and then essentially drive the organization towards those common goals. Now, here's where it gets real. The best leaders are confident. They're confident in themselves. They're confident in the teams that they develop, right? You can't lead anyone, and you can't develop this confidence if you can't lead yourself first. This is the part that most people skip, and I would say that this is probably the biggest part of leadership that differentiates leaders from managers. It's why people fail. In the military, discipline isn't optional, right? It's a necessary aspect of survivability. You don't get to hit snooze when there's a mission. Same goes for business, right? I was broke. I was sleep deprived. I had no clue what I was doing half of the time when I got started in business. But I set a couple non negotiable priorities for me. Like every order was going to go out on time, same day or next day, right? And then I was going to learn a new aspect of marketing every week, right? And part of that I was getting in business school. Part of that I was learning as I went on the job. But that self leadership kept me sane and it kept me focused and moving forward. So here's an action step for you. Block out an hour today, right now, if you can, and map out your week. So I actually made a tool to help myself with this. It's called the Parker Planner. I use it to plan out my weeks. Why should you use this planner? Well, to live deliberately and seize control of your destiny. By exercising disciplined initiative, you empower yourself to become a more capable individual, savoring a deeply fulfilling life. In essence, this planner is your key to extracting more from every single day. Honestly, I had no intention of plugging that planner in this video, but since we were talking about the tool, there it is. So take a few minutes, plan out your week. Think about what your outcomes are that you want to achieve, and then think about how you're going to get there, and think about how you can lead yourself and your teams to those outcomes, right? I would just pick like 2 or 3 priorities that matter. That way you don't get overwhelmed, right? Now let's flip it. I know I was just talking about how you need to be able to lead yourself, but leadership isn't about you. It's about them. One of the things that one of my mentors told me when I became a captain and took command of Charlie Battery in the field artillery. If you're interested, follow us on Instagram, Charlie Battery Animals. One of the things my mentor told me was that it's not about me. Those bars aren't for me. Those bars are for them. Ultimately, the best leaders don't just manage tasks. They serve their people and inspire their people through their service. Like I said, I've led teams up to 100 people, and the secret is trust. That's it. Trust is the de facto currency of the world. The kind you build through consistency, transparency, and actually giving a damn about the people around you and their outcomes, right? I'll leave Charlie Battery shortly, and my legacy is ultimately irrelevant compared to what is the battery now achieving? What level are they able to rise to? So ultimately, my focus in military leadership on that front is just making sure that the unit is progressing, that everyone is getting the training and the development that they need to get. And that's my success metric as a battery commander right now. So translate that to business. When I coach entrepreneurs, people that are running, 7, 8, 9-figure businesses even, ultimately I tell them, serve your team, right? If you don't know what motivates them and you don't know why they're there and working for you and what they're passionate about, then you're busting their ass essentially, and you're not able to reward them or incentivize them appropriately, right? It's important to have transparency and accountability, and we need to be able to talk to people when there's rights and wrongs and things that go good and bad. But ultimately, it's not about just the bottom line. It's about taking care of the people around you, right? And I recognize that I couldn't have the successes that I have if I didn't have the team around me. And so I try really hard to make sure that we're cultivating that in a way that is a great culture. One, for work, like I said, your culture is essentially oiling your machine and keeping it running smoothly. But I want to make sure that my managers are being developed into outstanding managers, and my customer service team is being developed into a great customer service team. And ultimately, when people are developing like that, they feel fulfilled as well, right? And I think that that level of team development, that's a great sign of a strong leader, and that's strong leadership. And no, this isn't some fluffy TED talk. This is the actual stuff that I used, things that I learned in the military from leading teams of 3 or 4 people, all the way up to organizations now with 100 people, and then plugged and played them into my own businesses to have massive growth. And honestly, when I start talking about leadership in some of these masterminds that I participated in, I was in Russell Brunson's mastermind in Boise last October, and I taught a lesson on how to use leadership to build team efficiency. And at the end of the presentation, everyone in the room was like, Parker, the world needs this training, man. And I just couldn't even fathom it because it was just normal for me, right? That's how I was raised in the military. This is the lessons and the principles that I grew up with. And I never realized that they hadn't made it to entrepreneurs and civilian business leaders yet. And so I feel called to share this information with you. All right, now let's land this plane. Leadership isn't a title. Leadership is a choice. Leadership is the choice to lead yourself with discipline, to lead others through service, and to watch your world transform around you. Leadership is a choice to make the world a better place for the people around you. If you want the full playbook, I encourage you to pick up my book, How the Hell Are You Doing This? A story of life and leadership from me, Captain Parker McCumber. Hey, I forgot to say at the start of this video, I'm donating $1 for every YouTube subscriber that I get in 2025. And I was challenged at the Funnel Hacking Live event in February. Who could get the most subscribers between me and Keats? Keats
just challenged me to see who can have the most YouTube subscribers by the April Mastermind.
Anyways, a firm handshake is on the line. I'm looking for subscribers, and I will donate to charity $1 to Charity Water for every subscriber that I get on YouTube in 2025.